technology there to do live streaming?
Live streaming, good question. The question was, can we do live streaming? Answer, yes, we can do live streaming. Interesting thing though, one of the biggest companies in the VR space that is doing live streaming is not doing live VR. It's like a 140-degree view. So it's like a really wide angle lens. But it is being sold as VR and people are getting excited about that. Doing a complete 360 3D live stream technically is possible, but right now it's pretty cost prohibitive. Cost will go down over time. One of the more important questions is, if you want to do live, when does it make sense? I mean, the Dutch football industry keep asking, can we do a live football stream? Well, yes, but who is going to watch that? I mean, people in the Netherlands might watch it, some people in Belgium, but as soon as you get further away than that, it's not really interesting. If you get to an event that has global value, like the Olympics, sure, people would get excited about that. But even if you get like a big music star, let's say we would get Prince to do a VR live stream. If he would be playing a show in Japan and you are living on the other end of the world, are you going to get up at 4 a.m. to wear like this cardboard headset to watch Prince? Not really. I mean, you would want to time shift that because that's what we've learned so far. People would want to watch something when it's convenient for them, unless they're huge fans. But you don't get the volume with the core fans outside of that initial time zone. That might make it profitable or even cost effective. So once the costs go down, you'll see more live streams. Right now it's possible if there's a brand that has something really special to do and is willing to invest. But yes, it's possible. More questions, I like this. Yes?
What do you use to edit these videos?
Good question. What do we use to edit? Because, I mean, Final Cut, Avid, Premiere, I mean, you see, that's all geared to doing a 2D edit. Fun, but it's really weird when you start trying to do VR stuff in that. So we developed our own pipeline, our own tools, and we do integrate a lot of these tools. But the first thing that you do when you want to create a VR story after you shoot it is basically glue all these different images together. Because, I mean, this little camera here has 14 lenses, this model. I mean, we have them with 16, with 18, with 12, depending on what we do. So all these sensors can generate their own set of data. We glue that together, and once it's glued together, only then you can start sort of crafting your narrative. So we train editors to work with existing tools, the tools that they are used to, like Premiere, but we give them templates and a bit of knowledge to sort of see how they can interpret that warped, weird image that they see in their editing preview, and sort of think about how you can work with that. So it's technically not that difficult. It's more the way you use it, like doing a hard cut. That doesn't really work in VR because it's too hard of a transition. You get scared, you're like, oh crap, I'm suddenly somewhere else. You need to give people time to adjust to a scene change, give them time to sort of look around. Your pacing is very different. The minimum time you would need for a VR shot right now is on average 18 seconds. So let's say you would want to do a 30-second TV commercial. Crap, that means we can do like 2.5 shots. That doesn't really work. Thing though is, if you would want to do something in a 30 or 60-second format, it does work in VR, but you have to write it in a different way, which is actually more important than even before you start thinking about editing. Think about this. Let's say you put on the headset. Suddenly you're standing in Times Square, New York. You see the big red staircase, you see a big band playing, 50 people, lots of noise, you see the big buildings, you look around, and suddenly 18, 20 seconds have passed and the commercial's almost over. But then you suddenly hear screeching tires to your right, you hear a bang. You look to your right and you see that a cab and a bike messenger sort of crashed into each other. You don't know as a viewer what happened because you're already at the end of the 30-second spot. So you go back to the first second, you rewind, and you sort of turn to the right instantly because you want to see what's happening there. Then you notice from the corner of your eye that behind you there's a big diner. Behind the window, there's a really posh, good-looking couple sitting there and they're having an argument. And the lady stands up, high heels, long dress, storms out the diner, raises her hand as she steps out into the street to hail a cab. Bike messenger swerves around. But you still haven't seen the entire story, so you go back. And now you notice that across from the square, there's a guy with a huge telelens taking pictures of you, and you don't really know why. Now, if you would look at this story, it could be that once you focus from the start at the couple behind you, that could lead to a romantic comedy. If you focus on the cab and the accident, that might lead to an action movie. If you focus on the photographer, you might find out that he's not taking pictures of you. He was actually hired by the wife of the guy sitting behind you who she suspected of having an affair. So suddenly, This 30-second format turns into like 5 minutes of narrative, but it's layered. You watch it over and over again, and you start discovering more as you go along. So in terms of editing, this is one take. There's no editing whatsoever there. It's a single take. In terms of writing, though, there's like 4 or 5 different layers of storyline that you need to think and consider. In terms of directing, there's like a million different things that you need to consider at the same time. So yes, we do have editing tools. We focus on concept and writing first when we work with a client. Yes? Oh, all right, one more question.
I get the idea that everything is, you talk about now, is based on looking, but not on moving. Is that fact?
Good question. The question is, you look around, you don't move around. That kind of depends on the experience you craft. Because technically, yes, we could create an experience where you're moving in an environment. That's called in-engine. So we create a photoreal 3D environment. We give you a controller or just a motion capture environment, and you can actually physically walk around in this scene. The thing is, the question then is, are you creating a game or are you creating a narrative? Because if you're sitting in a movie theater or watching TV, you kind of want to watch, lean back and see the story unfold. You don't want to look around the whole time. What we see in VR is that the first 10, 20, 30 seconds, people sort of look around a lot, and then they kind of calm down, and they want to sort of see the experience. So if we would want to do something that you can actually walk around in, there has to be a purpose. Because then we can create something like that, but in reality, it often doesn't really make sense. Plus, you have to deal with things like nausea, because some scripts that we get involve moving cameras and stuff like that. There's a lot of rules and things that you can and cannot do unless you want to really nauseate your viewer. So a lot is possible technically, but again, creatively, conceptually, we'd have to evaluate it first. There's a ton more questions, but I'll stick around for a while, so after the show, come up to me and we'll talk more.